Investigation found dozens of law enforcement leaders buying and illegally selling guns. A review of government audits and court records over the last 20 years uncovered instances in 23 states across the U.S., plus Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C., for a total of more than 50 cases. And people who were supposed to protect and serve were selling these high-powered guns and making a steep profit. Erin Couchy, who led this reporting, is here with me in Studio 57. She's a producer for CBS News Crime and Public Safety Unit. Erin, this is so mind-boggling that these high-ranking officers are getting these guns and then they're selling them to criminals. In essence, the law enforcement officers are criminals themselves.
Right. So the key is that these weapons are usually deemed too dangerous to be on the street. So they're using their access as law enforcement officials to gain access to things that otherwise wouldn't be on the market. They're saying, we need this for our official duties to serve and protect, but actually they're secretly turning around and they're selling.
They're buying them because they're law enforcement officials, or they're requesting them? Tell me more.
It runs the gamut. So there were 50 cases all across the country, and there were different ways they got it. Sometimes they stole it out of the inventory. Sometimes they were their issued weapons by the department. In the most egregious cases, there were battlefield weapons, and that requires them to go to federal regulators, ask for special permission to gain access to them. And just to give you a sense of what kind of weapons these are, these could take out an armored tank. They could go through a building at the other side, hit a target 18 football fields away. They can take out a military helicopter. That's an example from a real case. We found an Iowa police chief in a 3-person police department. Town was the population of less than 800, and he had requested over the course of 4 years 90 machine guns to get access to. He'd gotten approval. It took until he requested a Gatling-style machine gun that spewed 6,000 rounds a minute for federal regulators to say there's something fishy going on and starting to look into it. He's now serving a 5-year prison sentence, but he's totally unremorseful about it. He just says it's a business. It's not illegal to sell things in this country, and he's appealing his sentence because he just doesn't think it's a crime.
Oh, this is a lot to take in, Erin. And when I'm looking through all of this material, I'm seeing here that your team also uncovered social media posts where the buyers are talking about how they got the officers to sell weapons. Tell me more about that.
So when you're talking about machine guns, you do have to go to the federal regulation because there's been an outright ban in the United States since 1986. No one can have access to them. The one exception is official government use. So they go to federal regulators, but all you need is a letter. It's functionally a permission slip. A police chief signs a letter saying, I need this for department use. So there's literally do-it-yourself videos on social media explaining there's online web forums, and it just comes down to relationships. There's some guys who said, I know a police chief, I know a sheriff, I know a SWAT guy. They just take turns signing these letters for me, and they make it like it's all for fun. Some of these guys just think it's fun to literally mount it on an armored tank and just shoot it off into a field. And a lot of the guys is totally innocent, and that's what they do. But the problem is there are cases where they've ended up in the hands of criminals. So they've ended up with drug traffickers, they've ended up with arms dealers. There was a case where a police chief, a mayor, and a town it was a member of the town council were trafficking guns and tactical gear to a Mexican cartel. There was a case just last year where they all ended up pleading guilty. It was 2 police chiefs, a sheriff, a Delta Force veteran, all conspiring together with a sanctioned Russian arms dealer, and they ended up in the hands of an international gun trafficker. Again, all of that ended up pleading guilty, so we know for sure that they were doing that. And then there was a case in the Northeast where it ended up being used in a fatal gang shooting of a 14-year-old boy who was just standing at a high school football game and accidentally got shot. So most of the cases don't end up in those egregious situations, but they certainly have and do, and these are law enforcement.
And arguably that's the whole reason why they're supposed to have these permission slips, because once they get out into the public, then they're uncontrolled, and then you don't know where they're going to go next. But I'm also seeing here that there's some former ATF agents that you spoke with that said that they were reluctant actually to charge these officers who sold the weapons. What's going on with that?
So we spoke to about 6 agents who were the lead investigators on some of these cases, and the officers themselves were the ones the federal agents were the ones who were actually really frustrated with this. They wanted to bring these cases, but they each had an anecdote about how they'd had to go to the department they had caught doing this, who had been doing it repeatedly, almost like as a course of business, that they were getting these guns just for the express purpose of selling selling them, even though they were supposed to be their department weapons. And they just had to say, I'm letting you off with a warning. Prosecutors are generally reluctant to try these cases, according to them.
So it's the prosecutors, not the ATF.
It's a little bit of both. So they say the prosecutors don't really want to do it because the sentences are very light. Most of these cases, people make plea deals. They serve less than a year, just a few months in jail. But we got an ATF memo from a few years ago that described this as a growing trend. That was in 2017, and most of the cases we found actually have happened since then. So it seems to be, it's hard to tell if it's happening more often or they're actually just going after it a little bit more now. But the memo said, it's our job to educate, not investigate. And I actually tracked down the senior agent who had written that memo, and he said, we generally take the posture, we don't question our law enforcement partners. They're our partners, we're just going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and it's really only in the very, very egregious cases that we actually pursue. So when they've gotten many, many warnings, when we've traced them directly to a crime, and that's when you start to see charges. So the more than 50 cases, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more out there that all these agents are saying, oh yeah, I said, how do I look that up in the court docket? You're not going to see anything.
Fascinating reporting. Erin Couchy, thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
You can find Erin's full investigation into law enforcement illegally selling weapons on our website, cbsnews.com.
We play real good. We got thieves right here.
Why y'all out here like that, though?
Bitch ass niggas, they 12 down now. They ain't gonna come down here. They ain't gonna do shit on phone now. Fuck Tom now.
Damn, why y'all wilding like this, though?
Fuck somebody else.
How old you is behind the mask?
Fuck Tom.
How old you is? How old you is? Damn, that's how y'all go?
Yup.
Damn, y'all the niggas crazy, bro. Y'all ain't gonna rob me or nothing, y'all.
We ain't gonna rob you.
All right, huh? Two for you, too.
Hey, let me get another dollar because I got safety on.
All right. Two for you, too, man.
Get another dollar.
Y'all don't be robbing this.
Oh my God.
If I were to die tomorrow, I'd want every diabetic, including you, to know this. Fed up with headaches, blurry vision, and hourly bathroom visits, then your fridge, garlic, and lemon are all...
We start tonight at 11 with new details just in about a story that is now making national headlines. A local pizza delivery driver accused of stabbing a customer 14 times in front of her child. Deputies say she was angry over a small tip. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Lisa Bell. Matt Austin and Ginger Gadsden have the night off. Tonight, her attempted murder charge has been upgraded to first-degree murder, and there's someone else deputies want to question. Investigators say when 22-year-old Brianna Alvelo came back to the Riviera Motel in Kissimmee on Earl Bronson Memorial Highway, she had a man with her. That hotel is about 1.5 miles southeast of the Silver Spurs Arena. News 6 reporter Stephanie Rodriguez is in Osceola County with the new details about what happened.
It was here at the Riviera Motel that police say a woman was stabbed 14 times by a pizza delivery driver who had dropped off food to her room just an hour and a half before.
Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name.
Brianna Alvelo.
According to the arrest report, 22-year-old Brianna Alvelo was working at Marco's Pizza when she stopped by the motel for a delivery on Sunday. She was greeted by Melinda Irisari, who was in the motel with her boyfriend and 5-year-old daughter. According to police, Irisari paid her $33 bill with the $50 expecting change. But when Alvelo started to walk away, Irisari said she didn't want to leave a large tip, but Alvelo said they don't provide change. That's when police say Irisari began searching her motel room and car for smaller bills, eventually only leaving a $2 tip. Later that night, the family was asleep when police say Alvelo returned. Police say video shows Alvelo and a man wearing face masks arrive at the motel. Irisari told investigators a man pointed a gun at her boyfriend, forcing him into the bathroom. He told investigators they didn't take anything, but that they knew what they were there for. Alvelo began breaking their belongings and stabbed Irisari 14 times. Irisari told police she believed Alvelo was trying to kill her and was afraid for her life and her daughters. She was taken to the hospital for emergency surgery, where she learned she was a few weeks pregnant. Investigators say they came here to the Marco's Pizza on Chaps Place, and the manager confirmed that Alvelo was the one who delivered the order to Riviera Motel. She was arrested right here on Monday. A company spokesperson told News 6 the safety and well-being of customers and team members are always our top priority, and we are taking this incident very seriously. Alvelo is charged with home invasion with a firearm, kidnapping, and aggravated assault. She was originally charged with attempted murder, but is now facing a premeditated murder charge. News 6 is working to confirm who died. She was denied bond.
The state believes that this is a punishable by life offense.
Police continue to search for the man they say helped Alvelo attack the family over a bad tip. Anyone with information is urged to contact them. Reporting in Kissimmee, Stephanie Rodriguez getting.
We begin tonight in Mira Mesa, where police say a man was mauled to death by his own 3 dogs.
It happened at a neighborhood park at about noon. NBC 7's Janet Quesada has the details and also spoke with neighbors.
Well, we've been out here. We've actually been seeing a lot of neighbors who are walking their dogs, and we've talked with some who tell us they're devastated to hear about the tragedy. They tell us also that Erickson Elementary, which is just down this block, went on lockdown while they caught the dogs.
I saw a person running around with 3 dogs. I noticed that he was constantly repeating, like, hey, be gentle, be nice.
Paul No was taking his dogs for a walk at Mesa Viking Neighborhood Park moments before the attack. Police and paramedics were called to the park around noon following reports of a dog attack. Authorities say a man was mauled by his own 3 dogs. A witness who did not want to go on camera told NBC 7 a person trying to help the man was also bitten. They were both taken to the hospital, but police say the dog's owner did not survive.
Did that die? Wow.
Steve Marto lives across the street from Mesa Viking Neighborhood Park. He says he and his son watched as Humane Society law enforcement officers located and took away the dogs.
And they had him like cornered up in this set of bushes over here.
These dogs were freaking huge, dude. Like they were probably close to like 120, 150, between 120 and 150 pound dogs.
Authorities have not confirmed the dog's breeds, but the Humane Society says all 3 are in their care for mandatory bite quarantine. Neighbors say they're grateful kids were not at the park when the attack happened.
Every day around that time, I mean, there's so much traffic and lines of kids just walking up and down the street that's pretty scary that happened.
While we've been out here, we've also been seeing investigators and
We begin with new information about the woman who was found dead on the side of I-95 in northeast Miami-Dade. Take a look at your screens right now. These are pictures of that victim. Thanks so much for being with us here at 6:30. I'm Chelsea Jones. CBS News Miami's Nikaya Carrero is joining us live from northeast Miami-Dade with more about what we know about that woman. Nikaya.
Chelsea, we now know that woman's name is Naomi Sintanidi, and she was only 22 years old. Naomi was found dead and naked Saturday morning. Multiple 911 calls were made about a man and woman fighting next to a car on the side of the busy highway near the Ives Dairy Road exit. When Florida Highway Patrol arrived, that's when they discovered her body with a piece of clothing laying next to her. Hours later, she was discovered. Police began chasing a vehicle suspected to be involved in a homicide. The crash ended on Miramar Parkway and Northwest 57th Avenue, Red Road. This man, Laurent Jr. Pion, was arrested in that chase. Miami-Dade Police Department told us at this time they cannot confirm if it's connected to this case. Naomi had 1 child. Her birthday would have been at the end of this month on the 29th. We are still working to learn what led to the young mother being slain and dumped on the side of the busy highway. In northwest Miami-Dade, Nikaya Carrero, CBS News.
At Harbor Freight, we design and test our own tools and sell them directly to you. No middleman.
It's kind of dumb. Yeah, like there's just no point.
It's a travesty. It's a travesty.
A prank taken too far, landing 27-year-old Charles Smith in jail tonight.
Hopefully he gets his just due.
Smith is now facing multiple charges, including a felony for messing with produce at a Walmart in Mesa Thursday. He filmed himself doing it and posted it on his social media. The video was deleted, but police sent us this screenshot showing the bug repellent court docs say Smith stole from the same store, then sprayed it all over fruits, vegetables, and rotisserie chickens as part of a prank. Shoppers are downright upset.
Pranks should be actually funny. Like, if it's like, hurting others in the process, like, why would you do that?
According to court paperwork, Smith is a self-proclaimed troll, posting pranks on social media to cash out a monthly check anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 for his content.
I think social media has got people doing crazy things out here.
Police say Smith did try undoing his wrong 10 minutes after the incident when his followers called him out on it. Police say Smith grabbed some of the produce, put it in a cart, and wheeled it to the back of the store. Walmart tells us they trashed about $930 worth of food and sanitized the area, but it's unclear if any shoppers took the contaminated food home.
It's unfortunate that somebody would mess up their whole lives potentially for something on social media for views.
Mesa police say Tempe detectives identified Smith.
Now,
surveillance video shows 3 teens confronting another teen near MLK and Vegas Drive, then killing him. Thanks for staying with us at 6:30. I'm Denise Valdez.
And I'm Heather Mills. As 8 News Now reporter Joshua Piguero explains, the accused murderer was on probation, cut his GPS monitor, and police say committed several more crimes before being arrested by authorities.
Dior Jenkins was in court Wednesday to face charges connected to a hit and run. But that's the least of his concerns as he faces a charge for open murder. In this video, you see a quick glance of 18-year-old Jenkins before he walks out of the frame. This is May 11th, the day 16-year-old Jovan Wright Bullock is killed. Another angle, from a house on Gold Hill Way, you see Bullock standing in front of his home. Jenkins, 17-year-old Robert Salisbury, and a 14-year-old boy walk up to Bullock. Metro says some words were exchanged. Bullock walks towards his house, the 3 following. A few seconds later, the teens are seen running. These are photos of the crime scene. Metro says Bullock was killed over a gun. Court records show this wasn't Jenkins' first crime. He was involved in a hit-and-run crash a month later on June 26th. Jenkins is accused of driving a stolen Kia, going through a red light, and hitting a Honda. 2 passengers in his car suffered serious injuries. No one was injured in the Honda. According to a police report, in January, Jenkins threatened to shoot a tenant of an apartment complex near Las Vegas Boulevard in Pecos. The tenant was walking their dog when Jenkins reportedly brandished a gun. Last month, I was at that apartment complex and heard from residents who are concerned about Jenkins and other teens.
There's no security in this area. You can't leave us without security. There's no security. The lights go out all the time. So just recently, my apartment the door was kicked in. I went in, I filed a police report, went in and asked them to fix the door.
Jenkins is currently at High Desert State Prison for violating the terms of his probation when he cut his ankle monitor. Reporting at Regional Justice Center, Joshua Piguero, 8 News Now.
Eggs make all our family moments better, especially when they're Eggland's Best. Taste so fresh and amazing, deliciously superior nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best.
Calling the attack unprovoked and unjustified,